विनर्स क्या महसूस करते हैं? I love this game. Just love it.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to have two talents who I've been very fond of. The first one, who I feel I've been a part of since her first film, and AB is someone who I have a very different level of comfort level with when I do my interview. So, a huge congratulations to you both on Ghoomer. Congratulations, your
Thank
film
you.
is finally releasing.
Thank you so much.
Right. So I'm going to begin with the theme of the film, really, AB, because obviously it's about finding hope, within a sports, trailblazer who really is unfortunately physically challenged. And it's quite interesting because your journey with Balki, I mean, if we look back at a previous film you did called Ba, that also again deals with sort of finding a way of life within, limitations, bodily limitations. So how do you feel like you've evolved in exploring this concept as an actor?
Well, thankfully, I don't need to evolve. Thankfully, I just need to show up. The person who needs to evolve is Balki and his writing, and I think he's done a wonderfully sensitive job this time. I keep saying that this is Balki's most commercial film. Balki, as a person, I've known him for over 20 years. I feel he's very reserved with his emotions. He's very reticent to display them. And I think he's managed to brave his heart in this one, and he's really put himself out there. And I'm liking this new Balki. I think it's very exciting. I think he's really coming into his own right now, and it's wonderful. So I think that's the way he's evolved. Like I said, as an actor, just needed to show up and just be a puppet in his masterful hands.
Mm-hmm. And Sayami, I think the way Balki had identified you actually during, I mean, this was way before the lockdown, right? I think we had spoken about this, but you've always wanted to do sports. So tell me, in a film, of course. So for you, I mean, to explore the mental, emotional challenges of the character faces through, uh, what depth in you as a person did you have to really rely on?
I feel, as an actor, you go take yourself to a lot of places which are very dark, and it can get very difficult when you're doing it time and time again. Like Balki, somebody who likes to do a lot of retakes. So there were a few scenes which we had to do, which were very difficult to do, which we kept doing time and time again. Um, I don't know if I've spoken to you about this, but I kind of have a little homework I do before I start a film. So with every film, I approached it a little differently. With this one, I had the good fortune of spending time with a few para athletes, and kind of just hearing their stories in itself used to tear me up. So to imagine what they've gone through, uh, and then kind of bring a little bit of that into what Anina has gone through is what I tried to do. But this film was, well, emotionally exhausting, the least to say.
I can imagine. And Abhishek, I think again, it's quite interesting because from the trailer, I mean, obviously I've not seen the film yet, but from what I saw, it seems like a very interesting parallel between both the coach and the student, really. Because obviously she's gone through her emotional sort of journey in life, and so have you. And I think you're also both trying to fight that darkness and that light. But I think Abhishek, when you do play a character that is, of course, you're relying on a good script, you're relying on a good director. But कभी ऐसा होता है कि, because you are playing a character that is so challenged emotionally and mentally, has there ever been a part of you where you've had to delve into a very dark space within yourself and try and, see how and reflect back on how you emerge from that dark time?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's what we do for a living, right? We bare our soul to our audiences, and a lot of that has to somewhere that raw emotion has to be something that comes from a very real space. It has to be visceral. That's the only way it's going to be visceral, is if you can actually experience that. Only the greatest of greatest actors are able to act every emotion out. The rest of us mere mortals have to rely on real, hard hitting emotions. So whenever you do these characters, it's emotionally exhausting because you really have to delve into those deep dark, you know hidden away memories that you'd rather not think of because you don't know what kind of emotional state you'll be in once they emerge and surface. So yes, it's a difficult job, but it's what we choose to do. And you hope that through that journey, you also, on some level, kind of, it's a bit cathartic also to a certain level, isn't it? I mean, you go through these emotions and maybe try and make sense of them to a certain level. I certainly did that in Ghoomer, and a lot of Paddy's journey and his thought process or his frustrations, his shattered dreams are something that I feel everybody can associate with. We've all, I keep saying this, we all have that one dream that we never managed to fulfill. We all have that one goal that we never managed to achieve, and that eats away at us. And he's no different. And why would I be any different? So I think maybe what was nice to a certain extent is through the character and behind the garb of the character, I got to say things which maybe I should have been saying publicly, but didn't ever have the guts to. And I think that's one of the beauties of cinema. You get to live vicariously through other characters.
And I think it's a really interesting combination of you both, actually. In fact, Saiyami, I mean, the last interview that we did, which was a very candid one, and I absolutely really loved our chat, by the way. We were talking a lot about, learnings. And,
Yes.
one thing that you mentioned was even though Mirza, your first film, didn't do well, you never allowed that to, that to get to you and, to really sulk away because it can really eat at you, especially when you have hopes attached to something and it doesn't work out in your favor. But that sportsman spirit, how and where do you think that sportsman spirit or sportswoman spirit really has developed from?
Well, I think it has come from just me playing sport. I feel I've always spoken about this. I feel the best lesson a parent could give their child is to make them play sport because it teaches you so many things about life. It teaches you how to deal with failure. It teaches you how to work in a team, how to be disciplined about things. So for me, most of my setbacks I've been able to overcome because of sport and because of a solid support system.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think again, we were talking about expectations and dark spaces, AB. And I think for you, I do think for a while, burdens are something all of us deal with. I mean, no matter in which strata of the world you are, no matter whose son or daughter you are, no matter which position you're in, I feel it's always a battle, for one to face. But I think with the fact of the body of work that you've chosen, I think it's so incredible. I think Dusty was amazing. Of course, Breathe was fabulous as well. So, in terms of the body of work you're choosing now, what factors have really determined your choices in scripts in particular?
I don't think, Anush, that ever changes. And I don't think it should ever change. For me, it's always been very simple. I don't try to overcomplicate the whole process. When I hear a script or I read a script, my first question to myself is this the film you want to see as an audience?
Yeah.
And if you want to see it as an audience, then your next question is, do you see yourself in it? Do you think you could see yourself doing this film? And if yes, then you should do it. A lot of the times, you read a script in which you say, yeah, I'd love to see this film, but I can't see myself portraying this character. I probably won't be able to do justice to it. And that's when you have to sadly pass on it. But I think these are the two most important criteria that should never change.
Right. But I think what is definitely, I wouldn't say change, but it's bringing back, and thank God, is obviously the essence of commercial Hindi cinema. We're finally seeing the films that we were desperately waiting for. I think Rocky Aur Rani was amazing. It's so good to see that whole commercial space that we were all yearning for. And I think Ghoomer also, like you said, Avi, it seems to be Balki's most commercial film. It definitely has those ingredients. But I think this whole, resurgence of commercial Hindi cinema. And I think what has definitely changed is we're seeing a lot more conversations that are taking place in society really embedded and weaved into the narratives as well of these commercial movies. So do you feel this whole infotainment sort of genre now is here to stay, or is it just a state of the society which will obviously transcend into something else in the future? What do you think?
I think it's always been there. Part of our art is also to comment in a very entertaining manner on society. And I think we've always done that through our cinema. I think Indian cinema has always been at the forefront of cultural and societal change for the better if needed. It's pointed out the evils of society when needed. The point is we have to do it in an entertaining manner. We can't start lecturing people and sermonizing them. They'd get very bored. You know, there's a famous saying: you want to convince somebody about your point of view, make them laugh. You know, you have to put across your point in an entertaining manner. And I think we've always done that. But that isn't the sole purpose, I believe, and this is a very deeply personal view. I'm not here to just change society and make a difference. I'm here to put a smile on your face. I'm here to, you know, maybe alleviate your stresses for those 3 hours that you're in that darkened theater from a very difficult life that you might lead. My job is to entertain you. My job is to make you feel. My job isn't just to improve you, because I might not know what's right and wrong. I might not be the right person to do that. So I'd much rather just be an entertainer.
Right, absolutely. So well said. But I think one aspect that I do want to also pick up on, I think for both of you, and like kind of it's almost an extension of what we've discussed previously, but I think it'll be good to emphasize on it. I think is the confidence of filmmakers now embracing vulnerability in their characters and actually morally challenged as well, ethically challenged characters without being so gung-ho about it, very naturally. I mean, even if we look at Deepika, for example, in Gehraiyan, I thought that was such a nuanced performance of actually showing someone who is mentally challenged and going through an emotional sort of sphere. Saiyami, I think for you, and then obviously we'll get your perspective as well, Abhishek. For you as well, in terms of displaying that vulnerability on screen, like you said, it took a lot out of you. But what would you say gives you that confidence and that strength as an artist to do that?
I think it's just the trust I have with my co-stars. So here it would probably be AB and with my director Balki or Shabana Masi, who's playing my grandmom. Because AB spoke about it earlier. It is a very personal space you go into when you go and experience the vulnerability which you're trying to portray on screen. So it's very uncomfortable to do it if you don't have the trust and equation with the team that you're with. So generally when we shoot certain scenes, we try to keep minimal people on set, and I feel it's just comfort levels. One, two, as an actor, if you don't have the comfort level, you better well find something within you to get out the vulnerability because the character needs it. But this film in particular, I just had that comfort level with Balki and with AB, which made life much simpler. And it's not something I think of that, like I have to be vulnerable. It's just something which is in the writing, and then you kind of deep dive within and see how you can make it as real and as honest as you can keep it.
Right. Very quickly, AB, if you can quickly give your comment, and then we have to wrap. Because obviously, male vulnerability is something which I'm always very gung ho about and very emphasize on because I think it's important. But for you, again, what gives you that courage as well to say that, you know, हाँ मर्द को भी दर्द होता है और हम भी रोते हैं, you know?
You know, Anuj, I think we've done a fair job of showing that throughout the years in our films. You know, I think as far back as I can remember, maybe the first time I remember thinking that our heroes can be flawed was in a movie my father made called Kala Patthar.
Oh, yes.
She says pain is my destiny and I can't avoid it. He's somebody who has a past. He's a great character. I think we've always done that. And I think the true definition of heroism is when somebody falls to their knees and then manages to get back up, that despite their flaws and their inadequacies, they still manage to overcome huge hurdles. So I think we've managed to do that. The whole hyper macho image that a lot we perceive our heroes to have, if you actually break it down in those very films, you see that actually emotionally they're all very delicate, fragile, and they manage to tread that path and that balance very, very nicely. So I think it's just I truly believe we've always done that, because that makes for an interesting hero.
Right, absolutely. Well, on that note, it's been such a pleasure. I mean, as always,
Thank
to have
you.
AB and of course Saiyami for Ghoomer, and I can't wait to catch the film. 18th of August. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on Filme Shilmy. It's been such a pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care, Anuj. All the best.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.